Hey guys, it's Max. I had a couple of trade ideas I wanted to share with you guys really quick. Beautiful day here in Austin. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous day. Have Jackson, have that big white dog by my side. I really like this trade. I'm trying to get this out in time so you guys can, if you guys want to do this before the market closes. Okay, so let's check out the slides. I want to go over my method just really quick. I'll go over this again. Now we got some deer over there, a whole little family, two fawns and a fawn. Oh, here comes the UPS. Anyway, all right, the theory of options, anatomy of a trade. Okay, so why to put on an option trade? You don't do it because you're bored. Put on a trade when you have an edge. That's when I do it. Take off the trade when you no longer have the edge or feel you have the edge. Put on a trade in a stock that you have a strong opinion on the direction or the lack of the directional bias. Bonus points if there's some kind of event that's causing volatility. And I try to show you, examples of this all the time. So it's time to take off the DJT clusterfuck spread. That spread was going to make money off volatility related to the election. We got it. That's a winner. Take that off. Take your profit. If you did that one, I showed like 10 of them, and they're all up. So I'm going to say we need to put on a trade to replace it. So I would say risk about half of what you made. So we're going to try to continue where we started. If you made $500, spend about $250 on this one. That's what my advice would be. But let's talk about the trade itself. Let's see what we're going to do next to DJT. Okay, because what we did do played out. We won. That's great. All right, so I'm going to say that this thing, let's say that in this scenario, or this is my idea, that the stock's going to stay in a range through the end of the year. Stay in a range or go up, neutral to bullish. I just want a neutral to bullish strategy. But this stock's really risky. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to zero either. So we want something with defined risk or limited downside. That's how I think. So strategies are tools. Next, we have to decide what kind of trade and make sure we have. Next, we need to decide what kind of trade we're going to do, and we need to make sure we have a bias on direction. So our bias is bullish, and our trade is we have to look at the 4 different strategies we talk about all the time: covered calls, covered call spreads, broken wing butterflies, and I didn't put the 4th one on there, loaded dice spread. So we're going to look at all these and compare them. Which tool do we use for the job? Now, if we think this can go to zero and it's real risky, we don't want a covered call or a covered call spread. There's too much downside. We want something defined risk. Remember, a covered call or a covered call spread has the exact same amount of risk as stock. Even though it's an option trade, it has stock risk. Oh, it's a stock plus option trade. So you have to be comfortable owning stock to do those. I'm not comfortable owning DJT stock. I'm just looking for an overlay where I can risk a tiny amount of money and make a ton of money, just like we did this first time. All right. So my method is to put on both trades and compare them, and I'll show you how I do that. So here is my first suggestion. I'll share it in the comments. I'm not going to talk about the ins and outs of this trade too much, but we're selling 3 put spreads to finance 2 call spreads. Actually, and it's unbalanced. And this is actually a 2-by-1 call spread. But anyway, this is actually a pretty slick trade. DJT can go down more than this. Doesn't expire till January 17th of next year. DJT can go down 14%, 15, 20% before this loses money. This has a huge buffer on it. When it does lose money, even if it does go down, the most it can lose is $1,255 because it has max. Well, it has defined risk is what I was trying to say. It does not have max risk. It has defined risk. Okay, but then over here, the unbalanced feature of it gives us unlimited upside also. So what we're going for on here is we're going for, it to go up to 80, 90, 100 by the end of the year. 100 by the end of the year makes this trade worth $3,900, and it costs $1,200 to put on. Okay, so I'll share that with you guys. I mean, that's one alternative. Now, here's another alternative. This one's called a broken wing butterfly. No risk to the upside. You make $170 credit, and you get to keep the credit if the stock goes up. Okay, the only way you don't get to keep the $170 credit is if the stock drops more than 24%. But if the stock stays right where it's at, you actually do really well also. This goes out to January. So this would be another alternative. Obviously, this would be a less bullish of an alternative than this. We'd have to really decide to drill down on what we really think our directional bias is. Do we really think we're going to get the move to 100? Or do we think we're going to get more of a range-bound move? I mean, you know, that's alternative. So then what I do is I compare it to just stock, or I compare it to just owning an option and just owning stock. But just owning stock, we've already ruled out because we don't want to lose $2,500. Okay, just owning the option is not a bad idea. That's a one way to do it. But the disadvantages are it's not a credit. We can't take our wife to dinner. It's a debit. And we need the thing to move 22% before we break even. But we have all the way to the end of the year. And if this thing goes to 100, it's worth $5,400, you know, on $1,000, you know. So, I mean, this is one way to do it. I'm here to tell you this is the better way to do it. You get almost all the upside. You get an income. You get to take your wife to dinner, and you get to hang on to the income unless this freaking thing drops more than 15% by the end of the year. And it might. I have no idea. I'm just saying if your idea was the DJT was going to be firm to neutral to firm, these are two trades you could consider, because this would be fine in the neutral situation too. You would keep the $245. It's about 20% on the money you risk for about a month and a half. You know, it's not bad. All right. So, and this was not bad either. It just depends what you think the market's going to do. You think the market's going to stay in a range? This one has about the same amount of buffer. This one can drop 25%. The stock can drop 25%. This one, the stock can drop 18%. So, and that makes sense. The more bullish one, you know, has a little bit less buffer. So those are your two choices. Let me know which one you like to do. Do these as limit orders. These aren't for beginners. Don't do this. Don't do this trade, especially if it's your first option trade. Hit me up in the comments and I'll walk you through it. But a lot of you guys know exactly how to do these all these trades. Anyway, this is a good trade right here. This trade has good potential. All right. I'll see you later.